Well, thanks again for coming. This is an orientation for the Montana Performing Arts Consortium annual Artist Showcase and Conference. If you've been to a showcase and a conference before, you'll probably recognize a lot of concepts and aspects of this event. And if you've never been to a conference before, that's great. We're happy to have you. And I think that our conference is one of the nice ones to attend for the first time if it's a brand new experience for you. I am Emily Wolfram. I'm the executive director, and I am also the only employee of MPAC. So basically, if you ever try to contact anyone at MPAC, all roads lead to me, whether it's email or through an intake form on the website or the phone number. I have been working in arts administration for several years with a strong focus on marketing and music education. My instrument is actually cello. I haven't been a touring artist, but I do substitute with various Montana orchestras every now and then. But I've always been pretty focused on the administrative side of the arts. I first sort of came to this world as a manager for classical chamber music ensembles in Montana. And currently, aside from MPAC, I'm also the development officer for my local library foundation. So that's just a little bit about me. So you know, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you all in person when you're here in October. So where to find what you are looking for? I try to put things, and let's see, is this slide progressing along with me? It looks like it is. Can you guys see everything okay? Okay, yep. Awesome. So I try to put things in multiple places so that way, like when you're looking for it, it's easy to find, even if you don't look for it the same way as everyone else. The main things to remember are that the website has a lot of information on it, and there is a showcase hub, which is specifically for artists who are playing the 12-minute showcase in the theater. And pretty soon, the conference dashboard will be available, and that will be available to all attendees. Basically, all members will have access to that conference dashboard, and that's more general information. There's some stuff that the showcase artists need to know that everyone else doesn't need to worry about. So that's why I have two different places for that. On the website, I'm just going to see if I can click on this really quick so I can show you. So this is our homepage, and oh no, it's not our homepage, but the menu is the same no matter what page you are on. If you go up to conference, there are several things on this menu that pops up down here. So if you're looking for travel information, where we have hotels blocked for you, that's there. The schedule and like the map of the facilities that we use is also there. The showcase lineup is also there. So that's there for you, and you can find a lot on those pages, and then also links to other information from those pages. So going on, as far as getting there, which is sort of like the basic thing that you have to do at first in the beginning, is to just make your arrangements. If you haven't booked your flight already, Great Falls Airport is probably going to be the most convenient. It has pretty competitive prices compared to other Montana airports. Bozeman might be an exception. But if you fly to Bozeman, you do probably have to rent a car and then drive a few hours to get to Great Falls. So you want to weigh those options when you're looking at that. We do have Uber and Lyft in town. We cannot say that for every town in Montana, but the big cities now have Uber and Lyft. So you don't necessarily have to rent a car if you're flying into Great Falls. We do have 3 conference hotels that have blocks with special rates for our conference members. And if you haven't booked your room yet, please do as soon as possible. The Arvon is filling up, and then the O'Hare Inn has their rate that ends September 9th. And then there's also the Days Inn, which is a little bit farther away, but still pretty close. It might be better to, if you have a car, then the Days Inn would probably be fine. But Arvon and O'Hare are within reasonable walking distance to the theater. And the O'Hare has mermaids in their bar, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a local specialty in Great Falls. It's at their bar is called the Sip and Dip. It's a tiki bar, and it has mermaids. And I'll just leave it at that. You can check it out for yourself, or save it for Q&A. So going on, I'm going to start with the schedule and just like run through the order of events, because that actually covers a lot of a lot of things in terms of what to expect and when. Again, this is on the website at this address, or you can use the menu. One thing to note is that we don't really have that many concurrent events, with the exception of the tech rehearsals, because that's just ongoing all day Friday. But we try to set up the schedule, the main schedule, so that way people can go to everything and they don't have to pick and choose and miss something. And it's a short conference. A lot of our presenters are all volunteer organizations from rural areas, so they're volunteers that have day jobs. So we have to squeeze everything into a weekend as efficiently as possible. And we don't have independent showcases. So you got a showcase, or if you're doing a quick pitch, you know that like you're probably going to have all of the presenter eyeballs on you at that time. They're not going to be distracted by other things happening at the conference. Another thing to note, which is pretty consistent on the website and what I print, is we've color coded things just to try to help you. Presenters stuff is usually in yellow. Artists and agents is usually in blue. I added pink for everybody, like for stuff that's important for everybody. So when you see the schedule on the website, that's the system, and you might also see it in the printed stuff when you are at the conference. So any questions so far? And I just realized I forgot to pull up the chat. Oh, nope, looks like we're good. Okay, so for Friday, everything starts at 3. Well, registration starts at 3 and check-in. So that's where you get your name tag and you get the conference program for the day or for the weekend, and you can check in. At this time, you can load into the Civic Center to set up your booth. If you're showcasing, you might have a tech rehearsal around this time or even earlier. You'd be able to get in plenty early, and they're much more flexible as far as those tech rehearsals go, as far as people bringing their equipment. So 3 p.m. is when you can start loading at the Civic Center. We have an opening reception at 4. That is open to everyone. You don't have to like purchase anything to participate in that. There will be some hors d'oeuvres and the bar will be open, and our silent auction starts. That is just a little fundraiser that we do during the conference. Anyone can participate. Our presenters typically bring donated auction items from their communities, and it's a lot of fun things. Like sometimes it's like amazing photography. Sometimes it's like huckleberry preserves, which is like really valuable in Montana. Like that stuff is gold. I just picked 10 pounds of huckleberries and I'm so excited. But and I might donate some to the auction. We'll see if I can spare any. But anyways, so that's going on too, and that's why that's on the schedule. Let's see, yeah, the reception has free food. There is this thing that we do called presenter roll call, where we go around to one representative from each presenter, and there's around like maybe 17 or 20 that register, and whoever is there that early can introduce themselves very briefly, so that way the presenters know who each other are, especially the ones that have never been to the conference before, and any artists or agents that are there put like a face to a name, or just get sort of see them in person and see who they are and where they're from. Then there is a professional development workshop, and this is typically geared more towards presenters right now. So if your tech time is during that period, don't worry too much about it. This time we'll be hearing from our executive director of our state arts council, and if you can go to it, great. If you can't make it, that's okay. We know that artists are usually busy, or like they might have a different arrival time that doesn't quite work with that. So don't worry about that too much. Do, however, plan to go to your artist opening meeting and go to turn the tables. I purposely do not schedule anyone's rehearsal during the artist opening meeting, so that way it's possible for everyone to go. And turn the tables, there is a rehearsal scheduled at this time, but I usually try to make sure that it's somebody that has an agent who will be there representing them and can go in their stead. And sometimes these tech schedules, like there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. So if they're running ahead of schedule, you might still be free to go to that. So turn the tables is a unique thing to MPAC. I don't think any other conferences that I know of do this yet, where the presenters are assigned a table, and usually it's just in the dining area at a round table. They bring brochures, they decorate their table, and they bring treats, and they sit at their like sort of presenter booth, and the artists and the agents get to go around and and ask questions and introduce themselves and approach the presenter, which is backwards from some like the exhibit hall culture and some other conferences where it's like, okay, don't approach every presenter you see, just wait at your booth for them to approach you. This is like the opposite. You get to approach them and they're at a booth. And they're really into it. They get really excited about it, actually. So they want you to come and visit them and ask questions and eat their cookies. Also, a little informal contest for the presenter with the best booth. And we'll pick maybe a couple anonymous judges and announce the winner on Saturday. So do please participate and turn the tables if you can. It's really fun. Let's see. Has everyone seen the little video clip? It was on social media of like what Turn the Tables is. Maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can like just play it really quick right now. Oops. So that's Turn the Tables. That pretty much is the gist of it. And does anybody have questions about that event? Because I don't think I've seen it anywhere else before. Okay, awesome. So that's that. Now we get to dinner, and we do have catered dinner, but you do have to purchase it in advance. So we let you opt into that if it works for you or if you want to. We do recommend that you give it a try. It's a good networking opportunity, and we actually keep little tent cards at every table for an artist or an agent to make sure that everyone is like mingling and gets a chance to meet somebody that's visiting as an artist. So if you want to do that, excuse me, make sure to purchase that in advance. During dinner, oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was just wondering, I saw when I registered where we could buy the meals, but we had kind of reconsidered and want to come do that now as well. Can you explain to me how I can go back and like buy the meal?
Oh, yeah. Sure. I think I can. Let me see. As long as I can get into the dashboard. Because I think if you can like log in and go to the dashboard, it's one of the items down here under registration, purchase conference meals. And I think this page, if I'm remembering correctly, it just has the meals and you can just click on what you need and add it to your cart and it just acts like an online store.
Awesome. I see that now. Thank you.
Great question. All right. And so that gets us to the end of, almost to the end of Friday. We do have our quick pitch sessions. There will be some artists and some agents who will do just a simple 5-minute pitch during dinner. And we do that because, again, we have to be really efficient with our time because we only have like 48 hours. Any questions about Friday? Great.
So how are the few people that get to do the 5-minute thing chosen?
A lot of times they are like sort of like runners up to the showcase artists, like they're invited first and they also act as alternates. So, and then it depends on what is going on leading up to that. People can indicate that they want to be considered for the 5-minute pitch when they register. And a lot of agents typically do that. And I'll be finalizing that pretty soon, actually. But yeah, but Phoenix is getting a showcase. So that's like your moment in the spotlight. Usually showcase artists don't do both.
Yeah,
okay.
That's for like agents more, or sorry, isn't that more agent pitches since they're not having like a showcase, if they don't have a showcasing artist, or is it also?
Yes, we'll definitely have some agents be involved with that. But right now we have at least one artist who's just going to go and they have like a simple setup. They don't need us to provide any tech. And I think they might like play a song for 5 minutes and talk about their outreach or something like that. So it's both. It's sort of a mix of both. Cool. So for Saturday, this is our big busy day. We have the convention center open at 8 with some coffee and breakfast items. And then our showcases start at 9 o'clock. And they're, again, we just get it all in one day. So we have the 3 showcases, and after each one, there is a resource room session. And it's pretty important that you have representation at your booth during those resource room sessions. It is true that like if you showcase at like the first one, probably you'll have a busy table at the exhibit hall right after your showcase, but that's not always true. Sometimes the presenter might not, get around to visiting your specific table until the second one or even the third one. Or you might have somebody that was curious about you anyways, and they just decided to go straight to your table before they see you showcase. That's why we do encourage artists and agents to make sure there's somebody at the booth. And it doesn't have to be like the whole performing group, just like one person who can speak to what your performance program is, what your outreach program is, your fees, and your tech needs, and answer some questions like that. Right in the middle there, we do serve lunch. Again, this is catered, so you can purchase that if you would like to. And then, by the way, I'll go into some resource room etiquette stuff later on in the presentation. After the last resource room event, we do strike the room. So that's when you will need to pack up all of your booths. The presenters will pack up all of their brochures at their tables, and then we will have catered dinner. Again, advanced purchase required. We'll do some closing comments from the board, and our silent auction will end. And then before we move on for the evening, we have 2 things that happen. One is presenter breakout sessions. That's when the presenters go and like they finalize this little worksheet that I give them for homework so they can indicate their interest in the artists that they've met and seen. While that's happening, the artists and the agents have their closing meeting. So please do go to that if you are still there at that time. We'll do a badge raffle. So we have you recycle your badge holders, and you can you enter your actual paper tag into the raffle. And the presenters also bring donations for that as well. And it's just like little things that are easy to like travel with for you guys. I always donate the Roadside Geology of Montana because I feel like that's very good to have on tours here. So if you're very lucky, you might get that book, which I love a lot. So yeah, so there's the badge raffle, and then we also have during the meeting, you vote for an artist representative to sit on the MPAC board. Right now, it's Rob Kohler, who lives here in Great Falls, and he's a gigging artist, and he'll be there. And so he'll run through all of this at the artist meetings as well. So it's also a chance for you to talk about the conference and like what worked well and what didn't, and what suggestions you have for next year, which we do keep track of and we keep in mind when we're doing future planning. So that helps us out a lot, and we do take your feedback pretty seriously. So that's the closing meeting. And then we get to another really important, so it's sort of like our 4th unofficial showcase. It's the jam session, and we're having this kind of across the street from the Civic Center at the Celtic Cowboy Pub and Restaurant. And basically we take all of your talent that just presented for 12 minutes and did all this stuff all day on Saturday, and we set up simple backline for you at this restaurant with a big bar, and you get a chance to jam with each other. So be thinking of like, things that are easy to cover that other people can join in, that you can do spontaneously. That where, you don't have to plan it out. It just has to be something that everyone can join in on. And we usually have like, a few people up at a time. So it's not like all 17 artists, and we'll have an MC that's sort of like managing things as well. But do plan to come to that. It's really fun. And it is another way to make a last impression on the presenters as well. Some of the presenters have said that like they had one impression of an act after the showcase, and then they saw that same person at the jam session and it changed their mind. And usually it's in a good way because it's just always very positive. So do come to that. I'm gonna skip the video for now, but this is also on, there's a little video that has a clip of last year's jam session, and you can find that on the Showcase Hub, and I'll link to it in the conference dashboard as well. So that's Saturday. Does anyone have questions about Saturday? All right, cool. All right, and Sunday, you can sleep in or you can leave early on a plane. That's okay. We know you have other stuff to do. And there's stuff that happens here, but if you can't stay for Sunday, that's totally fine. Everything that we do on Sunday happens over at the Dark Horse Hall and Wine Snug, which is actually part of Hotel Arvon and the Celtic Cowboy, again, across the street from the Mansfield, very close by. What happens is we have our block booking meeting, and that is closed just to presenters, so you can't go to that anyways. And I'll explain what happens after that. And then we have our annual member meeting, which is where the presenters will vote on the presenter side of like of board representation if there are some vacancies that are being filled. So and then we have our joint closing session, which is where, again, we talk about how the conference went usually for the presenters. If there are any artists in the room at the time or agents in the room at the time, they can chime in too. And it's kind of like what I explained with the closing meeting on Saturday night. And then we have an MPAC board meeting in person. So it doesn't really involve like any more networking where you're like planning for the next season or answering questions. So again, you don't have to do this. I did want to just mention that there is stuff happening because after this block booking meeting, we do create a report and that lists every artist that came, including the 5-minute pitches and whoever had a booth and whoever was discussed, honestly. So that way, and we create a report that lists each presenter who's interested in them and like to what degree they are interested. So, and we send that to the entire membership, not just the people who came to the conference. And that allows presenters to follow up with you or with other presenters they want to organize a tour with. And that allows you to follow up with the people who expressed interest in you. And it looks something like this. So you'll probably see something very similar. During that meeting, we do try to start the conversation about dates. So like people kind of are starting to like hone in on what what's going to work so they can cooperate with each other. So that's what you'll get after Sunday. And just so you know, right after this takes place, I get on a plane to go to Portland to go to Arts Northwest. So it might take a few days, but you'll get it. Let's see. Any questions about Sunday?
So we'll all get a direct copy of the block booking report that'll say, and then you can just follow up with people directly on that.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. So the main things are Friday, go to what you can, working around your arrival time and your tech schedule. Saturday, prioritize booth representation during the exhibit hall or resource room hours. Do attend the jam session on Saturday night if you can. Don't worry about Sunday. And I'm going to make these slides available in addition to this recording. So, and these underlined sections are links to those little videos and the parts of the website that I just shared as well. So you'll be able to get, just click on those and pull them up pretty quickly. Okay, so it sounds like those of you who are showcasing already know where that tech schedule is. It's on, actually, this is the wrong link, but I can fix that. It's on that Showcase Hub that I sent you earlier. And there may be some tweaks to that between now and the conference, not too much. As for the facilities that we are using, most of the stuff on Friday, or everything on Friday and Saturday is happening at the Great Falls Civic Center and Mansfield Theater, which is actually just one big gigantic building. And this is a layout of it. This is also on the website. And most people park in this Whittier Park area that's on the south side of the building. And there's a compass here because north is actually on the right. It's just kind of, this is the map I got from the Mansfield. So north is on the right instead of at the top. So yeah, I would suggest parking around Whittier Park, and then you can access the door right around this like little roundabout area for the theater. There are stairs there. And then for the convention center, there are no stairs. Everything's on the ground level. So it's pretty easy to just use the public entrance there. There is a truck load and unload garage door in the back. We're going to actually keep that closed. So don't plan on it. And usually nobody has anything that big to bring in anyways. If you are loading into the theater and you need a ramp, instead of using those stairs, you can park on the other side, on the north side of the building, and there is a ramp here in this little traffic circle that's part of this parking lot. All right, so, and here's a little bit of a zoomed in view, so you can sort of like see how things are laid out. So yeah, most things are happening in the convention center on Friday, and on Saturday, we're going in between those two spaces, the theater and the convention center. And it's pretty easy to do that. The only caveat is if you need a ramp between the two places, or you can't do stairs, you do have to use that north side of the building. Here is a zoomed out map of the Mansfield Theater and Convention Center and its relation to, excuse me, where the Celtic Cowboy and Dark Horse Lounge is. And that's also Hotel Aurum. It's all one big thing. So Saturday night, we'll be down here at the Celtic Cowboy, and Sunday morning will also be in that space. All right, so those are the facilities. We already mentioned conference meals, but just to reiterate, it's a great networking opportunity. There's generous portions, usually it's buffet style. We actively make sure that artists and agents get to sit with presenters and meet them. So going on to the resource room, and these are sort of like exhibit hall hours after each showcase. If you want to play samples with audio, please bring earphones or headphones. Please don't play it over a speaker, so that way we don't have competing noise-making machines. It's also okay for you to bring just one set of copies of brochures or whatever your materials are for each organization. When you get that attendee list, you'll see that some organizations will bring multiple people, and some of them will bring a lot. Like sometimes they'll bring like 10 people from Fort Benton because they're just really excited. But you don't have to give all 10 people from Fort Benton a copy of your stuff. You can just bring one and give it to the main contact. And again, artists, they have like blue lanyards and presenters have yellow lanyards. And when people are networking during exhibit hall hours, please keep in mind that they're getting some business done. So don't try to avoid interrupting conversations, especially if it's between artists and presenters, and just be sensitive to other people, like trying to communicate the details of whatever they're trying to plan. So just be sensitive to that, and ask the presenters good questions. They're really great people. There's also a link to all of our resource room guidelines, and I think I put that in the Showcase Hub as well, but there's a link here on this presentation. Oops, excuse me. And you can find that. Oh, I don't think it's going to let me click on it because it's too low. Oh, sorry. I'm going to let you explore that because it's very robust, but yeah, it's just a long list of various guidelines. And if you have any questions about that, you can definitely feel free to email me or call me about it. Okay, so going on to the attendee list, which is a much anticipated document. This is just a list of everyone who's coming. It's presenters and service organizations like our Arts Council and Creative West, formerly known as WestAF, and all of the artists and all of the agents. It will have email addresses on it. I don't think we're doing phone numbers anymore, but that is your document for following up with folks after the conference when you get that block booking report. And there'll be the first one going out pretty soon. I'll send the next one out after the next registration deadline, and then I'll finalize it the week of the conference. And I'll put that probably on the conference dashboard. One thing to know is when you're looking ahead to the conference and preparing for it, we don't really do a lot of one-on-one meetings scheduled ahead of time. I know that's a tradition for other bigger conferences like Western Arts Alliance or APAC, but that's not something that's typically done at MPAC. I don't think it's really necessary. You really can meet everybody at this conference. There's usually about 150 people registered total. And everyone's really good about, you know, making the rounds and being open to like talking to everyone. So just a heads up, if you're expecting that, it's not really a thing at this conference. And if you have any concerns, let me know. If you are really curious about the presenters, you can also log into your member portal or your member dashboard and go to the directory. And let me see if I can actually pull that up here. If I can't, I can go here. So if you go to your dashboard, or even just go up here, it's right here, presenter directory. Most of the presenters have done a pretty good job of providing information here. So if you look at their profile, there's a lot of, I made them answer a lot of questions about their audiences and their venue and everything. So you can get a good sense of like what they're looking for and what their venues are like from just going to the directory, which is available now.
Can I ask a question, Emily?
Sure.
Most of the presenters for like MPAC are primarily looking from the juried showcases for their season, right? Or is there much discussion of, you know, artists that aren't there in person with agents who come?
They are usually looking from the showcases and the 5-minute pitches. And they'll also talk to each other about what's been booked in the past. That will come up at the end of the block booking meeting. We'll sort of like have a, like, you know, is there anything else? And somebody will say like, oh, I just presented so-and-so who did not showcase. Maybe you've never heard of them, but they were amazing. And you should totally book them next year because they're coming back. Like that might happen. And then as far as agents go, they are happy to like learn about an act that an agent would suggest if they know the market really well. And so that might be a thing where like you can certainly like bring up other suggestions if you have an artist on your roster that couldn't make it or didn't get selected to showcase. You can, and you have samples that you can play for them. That's certainly a possibility. And that's definitely happened. I think that Ron from Epic has been coming to MPAC for years and years and years. So he's built up a lot of trust and understanding with the presenter. So when he suggests something, they know that he's suggesting it because he thinks it'll work, and he's probably right. So yeah. So I wouldn't be too shy about making suggestions if you've got one. All right, so I think we're almost getting to the end. Oh, good. So we're at 2:45. I just want to talk about some other things that will help you as you're in Great Falls and looking ahead to the next year and future performances and tours, hopefully here. MPAC is unique. All the conferences are unique. They all have their own special thing. But it is a smaller conference. It's more relaxed and casual. And we are geared towards like being able to connect with each other a lot. So you really can meet almost everyone, if not absolutely everyone there, especially if you're there the whole time. And our touring economy in this state involves a lot of rural and small towns and communities. And like I've mentioned, they're small organizations. They might be all volunteer. And so what that means is like, yes, they might have like a smaller budget or a smaller audience, but they're still like really enthusiastic. They are, they're very appreciative audiences. That like sometimes when I explain how something like this really great jazz band from Atlanta ended up playing in Sydney, Montana, up on the Highline, people are like, how did that happen? Or like, that must be so special because like, that's a very small town. And they know it too. So like so people do have really great experiences, even in these small venues and small communities. Outreach is also very important because, as you might imagine, there's not a ton of opportunity for a parent to like take their kid to a show or a play if they have to drive 2 hours on a snowy road in February. And that's like something that really stands out. Like the kids really appreciate it. The teachers that are there for the outreach are also really appreciative. So just know that you will be appreciated there, and outreach is definitely a good thing to be ready to talk about. This link here in this presentation is a guide that one of our past artist representatives wrote about what to expect or prepare in terms of outreach in Montana. And it's just a blog post on our website. So feel free to check that out. Yes?
Do you do outreach with senior centers or cancer centers or things like that?
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah. Like I get photos of plenty of artists who go to various like community and senior centers. I haven't seen like a cancer center specifically, but Great Falls has a very big cancer center actually. And Billings might be another place to check out as well.
We just did a men's prison in Edinburgh. That was kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And if there is something special that you do that's not necessarily like a school version of your show, that's totally fine. If you have like a special strength that's like a different kind of outreach, certainly be prepared to share that, because there might be a certain community that like that will really resonate with. Outreach doesn't always have to be kids. It's just often it's kids frequently. So yeah. Venue equipment can be a challenge in these small venues. So just be clear about what you really need. And if you have a flexible version of your show where like you can be in a 6-piece band, or you can be in a 2-piece band, and you can like, organize one part of the tour where you have the big band, and then like the rest of like, another part, the later part of it is where there's just like 2 people hitting the small towns. Like that's really good to know. Because like if you're showcasing with like the big band, it's good to be able to clarify that with presenters. Like, you saw the whole thing, but we're also flexible and we can tour with your people, because that can be helpful in making things feasible for those small communities. And on this next slide, I wanted to share. Oh, go ahead.
Can you also, like, I think you and I were talking about this at the retreat this summer, like be pretty clear on the pricing difference based on number of dates, in the case of like, because I know that's part of the application. If I'm coming up for 2 dates, that's twice as expensive as coming up for 5 dates, because you got a flight, you got $2,000 in a flight that's only split.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, and the presenters do have a strong concept of like what it means to get more performance dates on that block or on that tour. And when we're in that block booking meeting and in the follow-up that we do after the conference, I in particular, and I think everyone else is too, is always like, okay, get your poop in a group so that way you create something that makes sense for the artist. And, like they understand that there's a range. And if you explain it to them at your booth, like that also helps to confirm it. And it comes up to like, sometimes if there is an artist with a large group and they can only pare it down so much, or they can't, the presenters might be like, okay, we really want them, but we know that we have to book in order to make this feasible for any of us. So they know, they're aware. This next slide is just a picture of, this is that jazz band from Atlanta that like came on actually 2 tours. It's Jazz Legacy Project. And this, there's a teacher in Belt, which is about 30 minutes away from Great Falls, who sent us this really great little testimony about like what it meant to have them here. And I just wanted to share it to show you how much we appreciate you out here in Montana. What you do is really important, and we know it. So thank you for showcasing, or for your interest in the conference. For those who are showcasing, I'm really thrilled to have you. So yeah, in a rural setting like ours in Belt, opportunities for students to experience performance and learn from professional musicians is rare. So having them visit was pretty special. So that's our audiences. And I'm almost done. I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about geography. This is going to be printed out, and there will be one for every booth, and it is a mileage chart to show you how many miles, and this is miles, not kilometers, for the Canadians who are going to be watching this. This is miles between various towns, not every town that's represented at our conference, but it gives you an idea of like how big the state is. And the other part that will be on this page will be this map, again, showing various towns, where the main airport is, the airports are. And as you can see, there's not much happening up in northeastern Montana, but we still have presenters there. One nice thing about Malta, Glasgow, and Sydney is there's one organization that represents all 3 towns. It's called the Northeastern Arts Network. So if you get booked with them, you do play up here in Northeastern Montana, but you get to you play a lot between those 3 towns. So yeah, this is to help you, I guess, sort of like map out in your head your schedule and what you will have to do in a car. And hopefully we'll see you next year at the conference, and you'll have more stories of weird things that you saw from your car while on tour. So yeah, any questions about geography? All right, we've all got Google Maps. We'll make good use of them. All right, and it's 2:53. We did so well. I did so well. There's a lot to get through, sorry. But we've got some time, so if you've got more questions, please feel free to ask them.
Emily, I do have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the block booking chart that you'll have at the end, I noticed that some of the venue operators will have like strong or in the middle ground, whatever. Is it what's the protocol? Do they reach out to us, or do we follow up with them? Is that what the email is for? What do they usually do?
That's a really great question. And I don't know that so far there isn't like one right answer that we are all committed to. I wish there was, because we tried something last year where we had one person in the block agree to sort of like try to be the coordinator and try to round up communication from presenters. And nobody was really used to that, but we tried it because we wanted to try to help facilitate the communication and coordination, because otherwise it's sort of like it is on you, the artist or the agent, to sort of like be in the middle of all that and fielding, possibly conflicting requests from people. So I would, if you don't like hear from them, right after the conference and like the week or so after the conference, or even, in the few days after, you can feel free to use that list and use the contact information to follow up on your own. That's not at all against the rules. And you should, if you're not like hearing from them right away, you should definitely be reaching out, especially if they said they had strong interest. We're still working on that system. I think that, I don't know that any particular community of booking conference has it really down in the United States. In Canada, they have it's like a dedicated person whose paid job it is to be like the tour coordinator or the block booking coordinator, and it's actually a pretty demanding job. So all of that stuff goes through that one person, and they get everybody's ducks in a row. But here, it seems like everyone's used to being a little bit more independent about it, but it does pose a problem. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. So feel free to do follow up.
I had a question about the resource room too from earlier.
Mhm.
The booths, are these, maybe this is already published somewhere, but like, are these long exhibit tables or just like a little kind of round table like at Arts Northwest, or what's the
Oh,
dimension?
sure. Yeah, they're your typical like rectangular, I think they're 8-foot tables. And there'll be
Okay,
like
so
1 or 2
there's,
chairs.
okay, so you bring your backdrop or your tablecloth or whatever if you've got it.
Yep. And then there'll be power outlets available as well if you need to plug something in. And if you need to like change the orientation of the table, we don't have any like hard and fast rules as long as it doesn't like obstruct somebody else's booth. But we usually find that there's plenty of room for everyone.
But it is like an 8-foot table. It's like full size.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 8-foot rectangular tables for the booths. There will be some pipe and drape probably behind you. And then we have, round banquet tables in the dining area.
And do
that
you
will,
assign the booth spaces?
yes, I do. I assign them, and that should be done pretty soon as well. I put them in an order so that way, like the people in each showcase are staggered throughout the room. So that way we don't have like all the showcase people in like one corner where it'll just be madness. We spread it out. So that's why I insist on doing that. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for staying on. Is there any other questions or anything? And if you think of something later, feel free to email me or call me. All right, cool. Well, thank you again for being here. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in October. It's just around the corner.
Thanks,
Good
Emily.
meeting.
Thank
Good
you,
meeting,
Emily.
Emily.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks.